Hey parents, welcome to our Christ-centered parenting conversation for January 10th. And that's kind of an oxymoron tonight because how much of the conversation is going to be happening with just me talking. But I am going to give you something to do tonight. Our students are doing something tonight, a little activity, and I think it would really help us if we did that as well. So we're going to do that as well. But I want to introduce this topic, and we're going to come back on the 24th. And when we hopefully we'll be able to meet face to face again, and we're going to talk about anxiety, and we're going to talk about with our students tonight specifically. We're talking about what it is, and then next week and the week after that, we're going to talk about what can I do about it. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on. And tonight we're going to look kind of the three different types of anxieties. Number one, there's a good anxiety of just being concerned with someone. And that's not really what we consider anxiety when we use the word, but the Bible uses that word for good anxiety. Number two, anxiety disorders. And we're going to briefly mention anxiety disorders with your students, and I'm going to highly encourage them to talk to you about those if they think they have them. And we're going to see in just a second, 1 out of 10 teenagers have an anxiety disorder right now, 1 in every 10. So I'm encouraging them to talk to you if they think that they have an anxiety disorder. And then lastly, we're going to talk about just general anxiety, what the Bible considers general anxiety. And what that really is you worry to the point of losing perspective of who you are in Christ. You worry to the point to where you don't remember who you are in Christ. And you stop trusting God. When we worry and we don't trust God with our situation, that is bad. That is actually a sin. We try to take control over that situation, and we are not meant to have control over our lives, are we? That's God's. That's God's job. So we're going to look at those three types of anxieties. We're really going to focus on Matthew 6. Read verses 25 through 33 tonight. Read verses 25 through 33 tonight so that you can get a gist of what we're doing with your students. Matthew 6, the opposite of anxiety is what? Do you know? The opposite of anxiety is actually peace. And Matthew actually says, and Paul says, peace through the peace of God. Peace of God. We only get true peace from placing faith in Jesus Christ. And we're going to mention tonight with our students, peace comes from God, not from us. Peace comes from God, and we can give that peace to other people as we are missionaries in our own cities. Next week, we're going to talk about, again, how to deal with that anxiety. But tonight, we're going to focus on defining it, defining what it does to us. I heard a preacher recently say that the past 3 generations have tripled in its anxiousness. And the anxiety in each generation, past 3 generations, have tripled every time. 70% of students say that anxiety is a major problem in their schools and in their peers. So this is what we're going to do. Our students are doing an activity, and I really want you to do that activity, not with them. You're actually going to be doing it separately. But I really think it would help us as well. Our students are writing down everything that they believe gives them anxiety on one side. And as they write down those anxieties, right next to them, they're going to say what that anxiety tells them. So an example is if our students have a whole lot of anxiety about school, maybe they would write school to the left, and they would put a dash, and they would say, what does that anxiety tell me? Whenever I have that anxiety, what does it tell me? Or maybe it tells me that my future is not going to be good. Maybe it tells me, I have anxiety because if I don't do well in school, I'm going to have a terrible future. Maybe that's what that anxiety tells me. But the whole deal here is if you speak something, you take away its power. And that's what we're trying to do with anxieties tonight. Our students are ridden with anxieties. And we're going to do our best to help them with that. So you write down, you do the same activity, you write down what you think your child's anxieties are, and maybe even what you think those anxieties tell your students. And it really might help us as adults and parents to write down our own anxieties. Do the same thing for us. Hey, maybe even do the same thing for you and share that with your student. That would be powerful. Your student needs to know that you have anxieties. It would make them feel more normal. It could open up this awesome conversation that you can have with your teens. I promise you it's not something you would regret. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, write down your students' anxieties, what you think they say, what do you think those anxieties tell your student, your own anxieties, and share that with your student. Anxiety is something that you need to discuss with your child. It's just one of those taboo subjects that a lot of parents just put to the wayside and say, oh, they'll discuss that in youth, or they'll discuss that in a different place, or with their friends, or with someone else, with a youth pastor. But you, parent, need to discuss anxiety with your child. They need that. This is going to be an important conversation. And it will be a very important conversation when we have this conversation here in just a few weeks on the 24th. And bring another parent, bring a family with you on the 24th, because when we reach the parents, we really could do something great with this city. So bring a friend with you, invite all the parents that you know, and say, hey, let's come talk about different parenting strategies and how to deal with anxiety in our teenagers. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm praying for you guys, and I'll see you on January 24th, and we will talk about anxieties in our students and what to do about it.